Good blessed Monday night, June the 7th, 2007, and it's about 10:03 p.m. I want to illustrate something to you all, and this is concerning my son's death. First, the pathologist told me the belt that she seen that my son allegedly hung himself with was a size 32. And I was told that the 32 was approximately 42 inches. I went down, this was back in March or April. And I went down to Carbondale today to view. I'd already seen my son body in a body bag with his hand like this here balled up, where they had to pry money out of it. And I requested to come down there today to actually see pictures when my son was hung up. And now all of a sudden, I'm being told that I wasn't told that my son hung himself with a size, a 42-inch belt, but with a 46-inch belt. I know what I was told, but we gonna just give the Carbondale, Illinois Police Department the benefit of the doubt that they did tell me 46 inches. Now I have, if you look down here, I have 4 different belts. This is the type of belt that my son was hung with, so it was too long, and I cut it off to a 42-inch because that's what I knew that I was told, or I wouldn't have been illustrating it this. But we're gonna eliminate that one. This is the kind of belt I want y'all to remember, and I want you to see how long this here is now. That's about 42 inches long. This belt here, is this the one that said it was a large or no? The black, this one here?
No, it was the brown one that's large.
Okay, this one here is about 40 and look like about 40 and 2. What is it? Yeah, that's about 40. It's about a little bit, about 40 and a half inches long. This one here, it's about almost the same, 41 and 3/4 long. Since they said a 36, we giving them the benefit of the doubt, even though it's different type of material. If you can see, this is a 46. It's considered a large. Now, this is the type of material, and what I'm gonna show y'all here is something that's really strange. Now, this is the size belt. Now we done got it together. I don't guess tomorrow they gonna come up with something else. But I'm gonna illustrate with this how it was tied. When I seen where he hung himself up, on this side was the 3rd floor, the floor where the apartment was at. On this side where my hand is at. On this side is where he was actually hanging. The material of the belt was just like this. The buckles was just like this. And this is, I'm gonna show you exactly what it looked like. It's raining, but it was about this much out of that 46 out. I seen it, so they can't change it this time. It was tied at least twice. Okay? Now tell me this here. This is a 40, this is the size. Let me see how many inches is that out. This here alone is about 6 inches out. I ain't gonna even count this here. But off of 46, it's at least 6 inches there, and we ain't gonna even count that. We gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. Now, when he was tied, when this thing was tied, the loop thing, now his body is on this side. Just look at this here now. He hanging down here. His head, it wasn't as long as this. It was about maybe, I think, about 42 inches long. 42 inches long is about right here. Now, when he was hanging, when I seen him hanging, his nose was smashed up against this. Listen to this real good. His right hand that was balled up, that they said that had money in it, and they had to pry it open to get it out, his whole muscle, this is the floor here, his whole muscle, this arm was in there, to the muscle. This hand was holding on to this. His face was bent in like this here. He had an indent on his head, and they want to tell me to think I'm stupid. Now, if it's tied up like this here, this wasn't up here. It was just like this here. And he hanging down on the outside. Now, tell me how, if it's tied up like this and we gonna just act like this here is not here, and if he hung himself, common sense will tell us that the whole thing will be down like this. Tell me how this is standing up like this. This is inside of there. And look, how is the belt coming down like this from on the inside, and on the outside it comes through this, and he hanging? How? Because all of this here was completely falling down to the ground. If y'all looked at my illustration in that building, you see what I'm saying? If he'd have hung himself from on this side, you see what I'm saying? This would have rotated over here. If he was on this side, it would have rotated over here. There's no logical way that can't nobody tell me this was tied first. This wasn't tied first, because his head couldn't be out here. How did he get it around his head? Do it make sense to me? Look, makes sense to you? How is it coming through here unless he squeezed through that? Because his body was hanging down like this. Let me try to get a better illustration, y'all. Since this is the same type of belt. Now I'm tied up here. I'm tied up here, y'all. We'll just say this is how much I'm tied up, and this is how much is left. You see what I'm saying? But this is hanging up there. This is up there. So in order for me to tie myself up here, you see what I'm saying? How's I'm gonna tie myself up here? This hand balled up, then I drop down now. When I drop down, I'm found dead like this. My arm inside of here, where the landing is at, a bike is turned over. This hand with money in it, this arm right here like this, in the other hand, trying to grip onto this thing here. Tell me how, and let me tell you something else. I told the lieutenant or the sergeant that's investigating, I told him I don't need to talk to them anymore. I told him he can just drop the investigation and give me all the paperwork, because he's calling it a death investigation. But let me tell you what is death investigation. Everything he looking at, he ain't looking at nothing criminally happened to my son. He trying to find everything that would say my son committed suicide. That's all he was telling me. I said, you don't see no criminal act. He said, ain't nothing lead me to that. But let me tell you something else led me to that, because his shirt was on round the corner on the 3rd floor. We don't even know if it's his face mask. His gym shoes I seen while he was hanging had blood on them. You see what I'm saying? They ain't none of this stuff in the state police lab. They took squabs of this and not taking the whole belt. They said Illinois State Police won't take it because the Illinois State Police, I was told by this investigator that the Illinois State Police won't take that evidence because they look at it as being a suicide. The only way that they can look at it as being a suicide if the Carbondale Police Department and this deputy coroner and this pathologist told them, because if the Illinois State Police ain't come on the scene, who is the CIS? You see what I'm saying? Who's the forensic scientist that came out there? If it's the Carbondale Police Department, it's a sad case, y'all. But let me tell you this here. Now, his shoes, his body was found hung, and y'all see how I was saying. This thing tied up here, I'm gonna illustrate it again, and I'm showing you how this, now if this is tied up here in 2 knots, act like imaginary that this ain't here. This is hanging out there. You see what I'm saying? If my son hung himself, science and common sense would tell us if he hanging down here with his face towards this here, this gonna be down here, and this still, the knot is up here, so it had to be tied tight that the knot is still up here. This will be down here, but this, and the detective kept on telling me when he was showing me this stuff in his computer, he kept telling me that no, I don't see what you're saying. I see what I'm saying because I'm showing him. I'm saying, you see these 2 bars? I said, how did this start coming from straight down and he on this side and coming through here? Unless he tied this here up, then he made his loop and put it around his neck. But if he made his loop and put it around his neck on this side, ain't nothing but falling straight down. He would have to be holding on like this, y'all. Tying this. Well, we'll just say hypothetically, still, he had to be on the other side tying this. But if this hand is balled up with money in it, how is he going to put himself, hang himself with this? How he going to put this around his neck? This is the only way it could be done. Is putting it around his neck after it's tied because it's through here. He on this side now. But now, even if he was on this side, my hand balled up, and when I'm found dead, this whole arm in here, y'all, balled up. And this other hand, like I said, is like this. When I saw him in the body bag, he was like this. This side of the hand was cut. Something ain't right. I went over and over with this man several times. This what he told me. I know he was getting angry. My daughter's was in the other room because I didn't want them to listen. But this what he told me. He said, Raymond, I don't want you to be getting angry and stuff with me, but I've been doing this stuff for 10 years. I went to school for this. I said, I know you went to school for it. You see what I'm saying? Your commanding lieutenant went to school for solving crimes. My son got shot in the foot last year in June in that same area where he was found hung. But your lieutenant ain't solved that yet, ain't looking to solve it. You see what I'm saying? But you tell me that you went to school for 10 years. I wouldn't care if you went to school for 20 years. You can't make me say that this is not in there. You tried to tell me it wasn't going down, it wasn't going through this, but it was obvious. And let me show you another thing to show you how they ain't doing no investigation. They ain't looking at nothing but suicide. Today when we went over there, y'all look at these videos when I went back over there to 910 Sycamore Street, where my son frequently hang out with these individuals that use meth and stuff like that. You will see a black guy in a car, in a gray car. You'll see 2 white people, the one skinny white guy, I seen him before, but all of them knew my son. And you'll see the black guy coming from the Sycamore side. My daughter said he's signaling to us to follow him. And guess where he went to from that Sycamore side, 910, to the 400 block of Oakland, and turned into the back of the house where my son was found dead in that building. I wonder why he take us from Sycamore and tell us to follow him, and then he want me to get out to talk to me, and he admitted he knew my son real good, but he was saying in so many words that he don't want to be a snitch. And let me tell you another thing. Y'all will see two other videos that I made tonight or this evening in Carbondale by that same area. A white female was walking past, and I told her, do you know it's a guy that got hung? My son got hung in this building. She said, oh yeah, Bryan Johns. I said, you know them? And she was coming, and I told my daughter, don't put it in the video. Let me show you how God worked with me. But yet you got this man say he went to school for this here and for 10 years. Well, if you went to school in 10 years and I didn't go but 2 years and got me an associate's degree, you see what I'm saying? In the same area where you went to school at, tell me how today, 80 days later, I found a female, a white female, that not only knew my son, she got high with my son, and guess what? A week after my son got found hung, she told me she found his wallet in that same place, a camouflage wallet. Since y'all always having all these pictures of my son and videos of my son, she found the wallet inside of a raincoat-like thing that my son used to have, because both of them got high together off of meth. And she wasn't ashamed to tell it. She found it right over there by 910 Sycamore Street on the ground. But she said it was empty. No, naturally, a person that using meth gonna say it was empty. And guess what? She still got it. And guess what? She gave me her name. She didn't have a phone number. She gave me her phone number. But I ain't gonna give it to the Carbondale police, because everything that I give to the Carbondale police, when it's concerning somebody white, they'll tell them something, and then all of a sudden, just like the one guy told him that was on my son's Facebook page, and my son was having a problem with a certain guy with a certain nickname, he went and talked to him. The guy not only took his name off of my son's Facebook page, but at the same time, on his Facebook page, where he had in parentheses what they called him, he even took that off. But the police said, just like they said with Kyle Kittinghouse, whatever his name was, that did all that killing in Kenosha, they said he was just having a bad day. You see what I'm saying? But let me show you this here. Here it is. I ain't got 10 years of college being no detective, but I was over there doing my own investigative work and found the white female that got something that showed his wallet down the street, y'all. Down the street, where the same place I told you I believe somebody had something to do with my son. What would his wallet, look down here. His wallet would be close, almost to the corner of this here thing, about a block or so down. What would his wallet, in his wallet with the raincoat thing, what would it be way down there for? Then his 2 t-shirts be on the 3rd floor in one building, and then go around the corner in another building that his body is hung. In the mysterious way of hanging. That's what I told him. I said, you can drop your investigation, because I said, you ain't looking for nothing just like the rest of them. Everything you told me, you searching his penitentiary records to see if he tried to commit suicide. You checking homeless shelters and everything else. You ain't concerned about where his phone is at. You ain't concerned about getting a warrant from Facebook and looking at his thing. I gave my daughter let you get on Facebook using her password to look at my son's videos, and you done had them since March or late March. And here it is. You ain't had time to look at the one where he said that he was having a problem with somebody. And in the beginning of it, almost the first 2 minutes, he told my daughter, Jennifer, he said, I'm glad you watching. And you told me that you didn't see that. And I had my daughter to text it to me, that video. And while we was in that room looking at these pictures of my son hanging, I had him look at it, and he doing like this. And then he heard it. First he said, hey, sis, because he was on live. Then he say, I'm glad you watching, Jennifer. He didn't have nothing to say then. But let me tell you what they do. They watching all of my videos. He's telling me about how he done seen all of my videos. You started watching my YouTube because I'm doing more work for y'all, and y'all getting paid to do it, but you ain't doing it. Y'all know them groups up there, them organizations in Carbondale, Illinois, is a tied right on with y'all, just like he in Charleston, Missouri. But let me tell y'all something. You see, you can plot with these police down here if you want to. God is the best of planner. Satan plots, but God is a planner. He the best of planners. Y'all, just you see that illustration, tell me how it makes sense. It don't make sense. They know somebody murdered my son, and I wouldn't put it past the Carbondale police cleaning it up. But I'm going to keep on searching. God going to reveal y'all. If you have 2 of your officers down there getting locked up for robbing banks, I ain't gonna say no more. But let me tell y'all, if you get any information, don't give it to the Carbondale police concerning my son. Give it to me or give it to somebody y'all know I'm communicating with, because I see they pay more attention to my YouTube videos instead of being out there trying to see if somebody harm my son. All they trying to look for is anything that they can say is suicide. He didn't commit suicide. Now you done broke it down, you done upped it up from a 32, so now I gave you your 36. The same damn thing. How's it gonna be like that? How's his arm gonna be in there? Like that. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, you can see they tapping with the thing, because his hand is holding on to this, and his other arm is all the way in there. You could see I wouldn't put the past the corner, because when I seen him in the body bag, this arm that was bent like this, holding on to this, it was straight down like this. And the other hand was like this. What they was trying to do is fix the body up. But you ain't gonna fix it up. Then when all of a sudden when it's time him to show me when they cut my son down, his computer go out. Peace be still.